Welcome to the Intercourse Show. I'm your host, Mr. B. Today we have a very exciting show for you. Shout out to Fabulous. That's a song called Gone for the Winter. And it actually blends perfectly into tonight's show. Kevin Samuels is always talking about winter is coming. And what does that mean? Winter is essentially the time where a lot of modern women who have been putting off relationships are seeking that time, that help, that assistance, that bond, and hopefully they're running back to get with the men that they thought was too modern or too average for them. Now, in this particular show, Kevin Samuels discusses the women who say that they are saving it for marriage. Now, most of these women who say they are saving for marriage are not virgins. A lot of them are modern women who's had children, some of which who are simply deciding out of the blue that they are going to take the position that they're going to save themselves for the next husband, even though they was just kind of kicking it with the last boyfriend or they've kind of been around the town. They determined that they can just be born again virgins. And so Kevin Samuels is a relationship expert that apparently they called into his show to get some advice about how they can appeal to high value men so that they can essentially, get married to. But for whatever reason, Kevin Samuels kind of gives them a dose of reality. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the show.
Single, never married, no children.
All right. So what do we got here?
I honestly just found you like this past week, and I've been listening to a lot of your the conversations that you've been having with women, and I'm just intrigued. So I thought that I would join.
What do you find intriguing? Huh? What do you find intriguing?
Just the subjects and the things that you guys talk about, just in regard to women being a certain way, and then they think that they deserve, top earners in the country, and yeah, it's just kind of crazy.
Well,
so
okay, you said you're single, no children, never been married.
Correct.
All right. What do you want, or what is it you've ever wanted with a man in your life?
So
I think we need to talk.
This is the new LLC formation kit from Taylor Brand.
Taylor Brand is made formed by
Gosh, okay, so to be honest, I've only had like 2 serious relationships.
Okay.
Other than that, I've dated, but it just college? I did not.
All right, what do you do for a living?
I work in retail.
Okay. As an associate?
Yeah. Special. I mean, I've been listening to all of these things, and like, according to the ladies that call you and the conversations you have, like, I have nothing. I'm just gonna be honest, but I have been waiting. I've been a Christian. I became a Christian at 21, and I have been waiting in purity for basically 23 years to find someone.
You've been waiting in what? For purity, you say?
Yes. I do not have sex. I do not sleep around.
Are you saying you're a virgin?
Born again, if you want to say it that way.
How long has that been?
To my personal convictions, I've only fallen to sexual sin once in 23 years.
How long ago was that?
2016.
Okay, so your personal convictions, because I was Christian since 5 years old.
Okay.
How How do you plan on handling your elder years, 65 to 85?
I do.
At the point you won't have a husband, you won't have a family or children.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be too old to really work to make significant income.
Mm-hmm.
Then what?
I honestly don't know. I would like to be married, but I just not yet.
When did you become a Christian?
When I was 21.
So I can tell you, man, I'm hearing things that make no sense to me. How can you want to be married and you're a Christian?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the husband? Where's Adam? Eve? Oh, because what I hear, let me be honest, what I hear a lot of times is women using God and Christianity as an excuse for their fear and why they didn't get out here. There's no way you're supposed to be single.
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying I'm not having
honestly,
sex.
I know. I haven't really put myself out there. People have found me, honestly.
How have you had any therapy?
Some I have, yeah.
Because this isn't normal, man.
I do have to say she seems like a very, very sweet girl. But Kevin just raised a really, really good point. You know, if you were in your 20s when you had sex and you saved yourself for 23 years, assuming if you started at 20 and you save yourself 23 years, you're 43 years old. So you're probably like towards the age of geriatric pregnancy. It's probably going to be harder for her to have children. And I think that's where Kevin is leaning into, is that it is true that sometimes women do use the Bible as an excuse to cover up their fear of relationship, of connection. And so I think he's about to really kind of, elaborate on that particular point. But for women who do save themselves, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I actually commend the young lady. I think she's, protecting her virtue and protecting her, her innocence. But Kevin does raise a compelling point about whether or not this is feasible or whether or not this makes her look attractive to potential mates, especially given her age and should they want to have children. Let's continue to see what else he has to say.
Simply not normal. This is not even normal human behavior. You can't tell me my first commandment in the Garden of Eden was to be what? Fruitful and multiply.
To be, yeah.
Okay, so now you're 43, so that's pretty much a wrap.
You think so? Well, according to worldly statistics, but I think it's possible to be married and be happy.
Ma'am, I don't care about. And this is why I'm gonna be honest. You're not Sarah. You have to go that far. You think it's possible, ma'am? You work in retail. You're not Abraham. This isn't Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar.
I know that.
Okay, so what if it's possible? Can you afford? Because Wednesday I'm gonna be talking about this IVF stuff. Can you afford $12,000 to $12,000 to $25,000 per IVF treatment?
You didn't ask me if I wanted kids. I really don't desire to have children.
I said being a kids is over at the wrap. You said, well, you think so? So what? You made the statement.
I mean, I'm just thinking in regard to like even being married.
You don't even want to be. You're not thinking you want to be married?
No, I'm saying like I would like to be married. I don't desire kids.
Why do you want to be married?
I think if I were to find my best friend, someone
that's not what a husband's job is. Christian.
I mean, kind of. My godparents are best friends.
Hey, Christian. It's not what a husband's job is.
Okay.
You're not coming in with this. No, you got the right one. That's not what a husband's job is, Christian woman.
You don't know what an AI work management platform is? Yikes. Here's 3 new AI powered.
Was Adam Eve's friend?
No.
That's not his job now, is it?
I mean, the Bible, it says that she was his helpmate.
Helpmate. That means she had a job to do. She was supposed to help him tend to the garden. And what use, and see, what I'm trying to get you to understand is, you said you in this position because this religious reason, but you're not living that religion. This is Christian feminism. And you're using God. Women like you use God as a reason to mask your dysfunction. Inability to function. There's no reason that you should be 43 years old talking about you want to be married. Cool, you want to be married. I got a real hardcore question for you. Solid question. Reasonable though. Reasonable, not a diss, but a reasonable question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What value is a 43-year-old woman to a man in marriage?
I honestly don't know how to answer that because I've never really thought about it.
You should though, because you say you want to be married. Cool, but you need a man. And what value and the reasons that men typically marry is for legacy, offspring. Biologically, our creator made you more valuable for that 20 years ago. Within a certain amount of years, you will hit the change. So it won't be possible. They will require immaculate conception or divine intervention. Then at that point, what value is it to a man to marry a woman who cannot carry his child?
Well, someone has shown interest and he already has children, and I don't mind. I don't know. I don't mind not having kids.
Okay, that's fine. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is, as a woman, your value diminishes the more things you take off the table. When was your last relationship?
A long time ago. Like I said, I've dated.
What was your last relationship though?
Probably the early 2000s.
I don't know what that means, ma'am.
Like maybe 2009, 2010.
How long did that last?
Honestly, we dated off and on for a few years. And then there came a point in time where
Ma'am, if I asked
there was just like a cross.
If I asked you a question, at 43 years old, chronologically, that's your age. But from a relationship maturity standpoint, do you feel like a 43-year-old woman?
No, I don't.
How old do you? If you had to say what your relational age would be, how old do you think you would be? What age range?
Probably my 20s.
You're in your teens.
Or maybe
you're in your
30s.
teens. You're in your teens.
Do you think so?
Ma'am, I talk to women for a living. You're talking like a young lady, a teenage girl. If I didn't know you were 43 and I just had to read the transcript, you sound like a teenage girl. And you've been living, you haven't had a relationship, you're not sexually active. You say this is for religious reasons, but if that's the case, then at 43, this ain't God's plan. This is your plan. You've had to actively make yourself unavailable. You have had to actively make yourself unavailable.
Mm-hmm.
Now the milk is spoiled. Now you're to the point where you're talking.
What did you say? The milk is spoiled?
Yes, you're 43.
That's really funny.
Your eggs are dead, dying. It's not funny. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to get through to women like you, recognize that y'all don't have time, man. Men married for a reason. You're talking about you don't mind being but okay, you don't mind, but you don't even have any practice in being a stepmother. You ain't even been a girlfriend.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why I like.
But it's not religion.
That's part of the reason why.
It's not religion. It's not God. It's not just spiritual beliefs. You're afraid of relationships for what? What is your father? Is your father still alive?
No. So I grew up in first foster care, 7 to 18. Mm-hmm. And then, long story short, I was adopted when I was 28.
Skip to the plot, man. Get to the end. Here's the reality.
Okay.
You don't make enough money to be alone. You work retail. You're going to die on the streets. Let me just skip to the plot. If a man was in your position with a high school diploma working retail, he would have to have a family to be able to survive. You need a. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line. You're starting to see more and more and more women turning out homeless, especially Black women, because y'all have not learned how to work with a man.
Mm-hmm.
The best years are behind you. Your prime years. You're in the later years. At 43, you may still look at yourself in the mirror and say, I still look good for 43, but you're 43. When I say the milk is spoiled, that offends you, but it's not, it shouldn't be offensive, ma'am. Menopause. It's not offensive, it's natural. But because women have not prioritized relationship until later in life, if at all, and they're not making the kind of money that they need to make to be independent and single, y'all are in a trick bag. And there's no nice talking that's going to get you out of it. You work in retail. Are you in management? No?
No.
So if you get fired from your retail job or you lose your job, you know retail is a tailspin. Corona slowed it down, but retail has been going out. I'm an image consultant, so I understand the nature of retail. Neiman Marcus was about to go bankrupt before coronavirus. How you gonna live?
Thankfully, they provided us to be able to work at home. So I maintain employment.
Work at home today. What about 65?
Yeah.
And why I'm doing this, and it seems like it's kind of harsh, because the world has just the world is okay. It's taken women like you and said, you know what, we'll use you. We'll tell you to be independent, and we'll let you sit in church, pay your tithes, let you work in retail, make us money, and we'll take your prime years. And then when you're too old to marry and no longer useful to the company, or we extracted all of our value out of you, and we no longer want you, we want the 25-year-old version of you, we put you out to pasture. Then you look around and you can't get a job because you haven't been preparing for the next step.
Websites your competitors don't want you to know, part 2. All you do is go to this website, and it lets you find out exactly how much your competitors are making by showing you how much traffic they're getting.
And it's hitting our community more than anything else, because there is no way you should be single at 40-something years old. Our grandparents weren't, and the people before us were not. And until we start having these conversations and you ladies start accepting the hardcore reality that you need a man. It's not an option. You need a man need a man today. What's the holdup? I'm saying you need a man today financially. Unless you're gonna go get a woman.
No.
Then okay, but okay, so if saying you need a man, you need another income for security. You need, what state are you in? California?
I'm in Arizona.
Arizona. You need another income and a half. And and my question to you, is this what kind of drew you to my content? This conversation that obviously you haven't had?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think is sad.
What was interesting is, like, I guess the mindset. I feel like I don't have the mindset of I've never said I want to be independent. I want this or that. There is some truth to you saying me being actively unavailable.
Yeah.
And
Man, how tall are you? How tall are you?
I am 5'11".
Okay. You have to go out of your way to be in your situation. That's why I say actively, this is a choice. You're 5'11", almost 6 feet tall, and then saying, I'm not sexually active. That puts so you can't be inconspicuous. You have a certain look, you have a model's height. So you've had opportunity. You might as well have been 5 foot tall and 400 pounds and ugly. Nothing. I'm not joking. You might as well have been 5 foot, 400 pounds and ugly for your outcomes. Because your outcomes are what? You've not used any of it. You've actively avoided relationship. To whose benefit?
Not necessarily. I have gone out and dated. I have liked people. And actually in 2016, that he wanted to be with me.
But what did you do?
He wanted me to be his girlfriend.
But you didn't want to marry him for what reason?
He wanted a sexual relationship before marriage.
Well,
and
okay.
Although
okay, man, but you had sex.
Yeah.
I don't care. You got sex. Okay. How long were y'all together?
7 months.
So he wanted sex before marriage, and you had sex. He wanted to marry you. Did he propose?
No.
Who ended the relationship?
I did.
Thank you. Case closed. Die alone, man.
So, okay.
Yes. 6 years ago, 6 years ago at 37, you had somebody willing to put up with this shit. A 37-year-old virgin born.
Why does it have to be shit though? Like,
because
is it too hard to ask for you to
Your outcome
honor?
Is shit. Your outcome is shit. 37 years old, born again virgin, and someone had to put up with that. And you still decided to have sex at least one time and you ended it. That's bullshit. And if you had people who loved you, somebody would have checked you on this shit a long time ago and told you, what are you holding out for, chick? What are you holding out for? You holding this coochie for what? What are you holding it for? A man who
because I honestly feel
to marry you.
I don't think it was marriage. Well, it possibly could have led to marriage, but I think that
honor women are unfit for marriage. That's why this is why I don't date women my age. They overcomplicate shit too much, man. I don't care what it is. You're a high school graduate and work in retail. What kind of social leverage do you think you have? It's time. It was time for you to get off the fucking dating field 20 years ago. We're sitting here talking like you got lots of long options. It's like somebody to put up with this shit. It is shit. If I ran into you at 37 years old and you told me, oh, I'm a born again virgin, I wait until marriage, I say, good luck with that. Bye. I'm not gonna marry you. I wouldn't wait for you.
Yeah, that is why I'm still single.
No, you're single because you're single because you're jacked up. It's not the men, it's you. You have had more than a few. You have had more than a few suitable men into your life and try to get with you. But something is off here, man. And that's okay. But you can't make it the men's problem. You can't say, well, it's my spiritual beliefs. If your spiritual beliefs, then why'd you fuck them the first time? God wasn't looking that day?
Yeah, he did.
See, it's always our fault, no matter what. When they run their lives into ditches and you're looking up and you're 60 years old and you remember this phone call, it's always our fault. Ma'am, you have had plenty of opportunities.
I didn't say it was his fault.
Men's fault. And this is why I say at the end of the day, independence, equality, the feminism movement is giving women the opportunity to fail. Ma'am, if you were a man in the same position, working retail, 43 years old, what would they call you? No plans for the future, no real steadiness. Life is about people and relationships, ma'am. And your relationship with God is one thing, but God did not tell us to not be fruitful and multiply. We're supposed to be together. You have actively done this. That's why I asked, have you had therapy? Because something's off. And at the end of the day, ma'am, you're 43. You got less years in front of you than behind you. You're supposed to be teaching younger women how to do this stuff. And this is why I say, when I sit down with women, y'all gotta stop listening to women in their late 30s and 40s because they are just confused as hell. And they're out here actively trying to date the same men that you're dating. My show represents the first real time where women had to actually sit down and listen to the reality of what's going on. And I ask, what are you waiting for? Mr. Right?
Okay, I have to weigh in a little bit on this. I think Kevin Samuels is really highlighting a great point here. In the conversation he's having. Now, I have to first preference this by saying this young lady seems like she's a sweet person, a sweet soul. So I take nothing away from her. I don't get any bad vibes from her. I don't think she's malicious in any way. I think she's trying to walk out her relationship. Now, she did mention that she came from a foster home and there's probably been some traumas there that's probably gotten her fearful of connection and relationship. And I think Kevin Samuels' heart, even though he's very direct and very forward in what he's saying to her, is to give her a sense of urgency to, embark on a relationship because she's missing out on the opportunity to connect with someone. And I think for as long as she continues to prolong this process, she's delaying her ability to grow in that relationship. And she's a very beautiful young lady who's probably would be a great wife to a man. But I think internally she has some fears. Now, Kevin did bring a couple points that I thought were valid. he says, based on how she's talking, she doesn't sound like a 43-year-old woman. She sounds like a young girl, possibly someone who hasn't had much experience, or possibly someone who's been sheltered and really not out in the dating field much. So she seems a little green, where she's maybe just unsure of herself and unsure of, you know, her ability to potentially be a wife to someone. And I think that's where Kevin is trying to say, look, just you having a relationship with God is great. And he encourages that because Kevin has mentioned he's also Christian, as am I. What he's saying is that being Christian should not be something that prevents you from embarking in relationships. Being Christian should not be something that keeps you sitting on the sidelines rather than getting on the field. And I think he's trying to encourage her that she should not stay on the sideline, but she should take a leap of faith and actually give herself the opportunity to connect with someone and to be with someone. Again, a young lady like this is not an ugly person. She's a very beautiful lady. She's soft-spoken. She seems like, you know, a lot of men would be interested. The problem is, though, I think her fear is paralyzing her from embarking onto relationships. And I think Kevin is trying to really kind of give her that kick to say, look, don't be too afraid, but stay focused, right? Actually embark on the relationship in order for you to see, you know, what could come of it. But if you continue to stay outside of getting on the field, then you're missing out on opportunities to help develop you with a partner. And, you know, I don't think that's what she wants. And also the story of question. One of the things that she said is she's not necessarily interested in having children. But Kevin Samuels was pointing out to her that most of the reasons why men marry is in order to have a family, to have children. And she mentioned she would be okay with being a stepmother. But Kevin pointed out that she doesn't even do relationship well. So it probably would be that much more overwhelming for her to not only take on a man, but also his children. And that might cause her to retract herself as well. So her fear is paralyzing her. And I think Kevin is trying to point that out in his very direct and, you know, stern way.
I guess from a worldly perspective, yeah.
But see, that's not what you're supposed to choose. You're supposed to just pick a suitable man. That's why I cannot go with you from this worldly perspective. You're a worldly Christian. That's why I interrogate.
So? I mean,
ma'am, I've been
know
doing this
me
a long
from
time.
a short conversation.
I do know you. I certainly do know you. I got about 8 broadcasts on Christian feminists. I do know you. Short haircut and all. Yep, I grew up with you. I grew up in the Bible Belt. I know what y'all look like, taste like, smell like, move like. I know everything about you. You don't get to be this way, and it's God's plan. You've had to actively take yourself out of consideration.
Wow.
Whatever your reasons are, you still actively took yourself out of consideration. You do not prioritize relationship. Okay. But you, unlike many other women, have had more options. 6 feet tall, model, height. Come on, ma'am.
It's true.
Here's how we helped our client Jay crush his 1-year goal of hitting 10,000 followers in just 6 weeks and scale to tens of thousands of followers with millions of views in just a few months.
It ain't about God, and ain't nothing. Where is Mr. Right in the King James Bible? The New Living Version. Where's the Christian? Where's Mr. Right anywhere in the text? Anywhere. Old Testament, New Testament. Which chapter? Which verse? It's in Proverbs, Psalms, Matthew, Mark, what? Revelations?
Are you talking about just like
Mr. Right? This thing you're waiting for. Mr. Right. Where is he?
Oh.
Where is the text referring to? Wait for Mr. Right.
I mean,
when you sit down with your pastor and the people in church and interrogate what you believe about relationships, what do y'all talk about? When you go to singles ministry and say, I'm 43 and single and I want to get married, what happens when you sit down with your pastor, the singles ministry or the women's ministry, and y'all talk about your beliefs and how they line up with what God wants in your life and what's going on in the world and the church? What do they say?
we actually don't. Well, I haven't been to any of those meetings with those conversations.
Well, then thank you. This is why I say I don't listen to women who proclaim Christianity, because they don't move like Christians. You guys go back and look at any of my videos. When I listen to these Christian women say this and that, I ask the same question: whose headship, whose leadership? And you're moving on your own. You're not under your pastor. You're not under a ministry. You're not under anything. You're doing this on your own and putting it off on our God. That ain't what he told us. Now, is it?
What do you? Okay, so
there is no but.
I am planted in a church. I just. So there is
you're
truth
planted
to
in
you
the church,
saying,
but if you want Mr. Right or a Christian, you're not in a church that facilitates marriage between singles. You're not asking your pastor. I asked you, who's in charge of this process? You? Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll upload the rest of it, guys. I have it on Zoom.
Kevin Samuels just raised another really good point. He talks about Christian feminism, and I do believe that is running rampant in the church. And that's the notion where a lot of women who are in the church start to skew the word with worldly ideology, and they try to blend their worldly ideology in the church teachings. And what Kevin is pointing out is that there are women who feel virtuous and I guess empowering women in a way that the Bible doesn't necessarily encourage. So they just interpret it slightly different. And then they start to infiltrate the minds of other women, younger women, to think like them. But a lot of times it's not aligned with the Bible. He asked her some key questions in this exchange. He said, whose authority, whose leadership are you under? Who's counseling you? Are you speaking to a pastor? Are you speaking to a father? Like, who are the people that's influencing you, or that's alerting you to the fact that you've been on the sideline for so long, and it's hurting you to not engage in relationships? Who's having those conversations in the church? And if you're in a church where those conversations are not being had, maybe you're in the wrong place. Because a lot of times women do go to the church with the expectations of finding a godly man, and the ratio of the women in the church relative to the men available is really scales more on the side of the women than it does on the men. And then that's where you find a lot of times the single women end up messing with men who are in relationships or married within that church. And so a lot of times those women are seeking out relationship, but they're not having access to it. In part because I think their thinking is a bit rigid in that they see it playing out a certain way. And some of them get a little Christianese on you, where they start to believe that God has got this special person package for them. And unless that person fits this particular mold, then they're going to stay on the sideline and wait for God to come deliver this person. And what Kevin Samuels is saying is that that's not God who's delaying your blessing. A lot of times there's been opportunities that you probably didn't even see because of the ideology that you put on in your own mind that's prevented you from being able to engage in relationships with men that could be good to you, men that could help you. And what Kevin is saying, you're wasting time, you know, and wasting your youth and your peak child-rearing years waiting on the sidelines, and that's not going to serve you in the long run, because eventually you'll get to a point where you can't have children. Less men will be interested in connecting with you, because if they want to get with you, they may want to have children, or you may get older where you're not as appealing and you don't have as many options. Now, Kevin did point out that this young lady has an advantage. She's a tall model figure lady who's very youthful and beautiful, soft-spoken, and she comes across as very feminine. So really, she has the advantages that a lot of women don't, but she's still sitting on the sidelines waiting for this miracle to happen. And it may never happen as long as she's on the sideline. So he's giving her the sense of encouragement to step out there and to not live her life in fear of relationship.
Who's in charge of this process?
I guess I'd have to say that I've been in charge of the process.
Right. So, and that's why I said you're in charge of the process. So how can you be waiting for Mr. Right and say you're putting this off on born again virgin or whatever when you're in charge of this? This is why I'm going to interrogate Sierra's prayer. This is going to, okay, so you guys didn't hear part of this. I'm going to upload this when I talk about Sierra's prayer in the standalone video, because this happens too often in our community. Where women just sit around, oh, I'm going to be a born again virgin. Okay. But where's the husband that's supposed to come along with your born again virgin status? Where's the relationship? Where's that at? Where's the relationship?
Yeah.
So in order for relationships to happen, we have to choose to make them happen. Oftentimes when women do what you're doing, y'all do this out of fear. But do you feel safe?
Safe by myself, or like safe?
Yeah, do you feel secure in life? Alone working retail.
Yeah, if I really think about it, I am okay. I do have family. I have family here. My godparents are here, and I'm with them a lot. I'm with my sisters a lot.
Okay. Okay. Your godparent, but when they transition on, you're safe because mankind has civilized the world, and you have police, fire, and emergency. But are you secure in this world? Meaning, if you
need an LLC. It's protecting you. It's keeping your business and personal life separate. So go to Taylor Brands, enter your LLC.
Got ill, a life-threatening illness. Do you feel secure then? Do you have good insurance?
Yeah, I do.
Good health insurance?
I actually work for one of the top tech companies. So I do.
You said retail.
Mm-hmm.
So you could survive a cancer diagnosis financially?
Yes.
On retail?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe you.
We have great benefits.
Mm-hmm.
You don't, or you do?
I'll just say I believe you. Do you own your own home?
I don't.
Are you in an apartment?
I am in a house. I am renting.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what your medical deductible is?
Like for the year, or like every time I go to the doctor? I don't go to the doctor. I mean, I'm very healthy.
I'm a cancer survivor, ma'am. I'm a cancer survivor, and I'm
yeah.
I just don't know. I work retail. I just don't know many retail people who have great medical benefits. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know.
The company provides a lot of resources.
$500,000 worth of $500,000 medical bill, major surgery, chemotherapy. No, man, I'm not retail. No.
Well, okay. So I don't know about that, but
I know.
That's why I'm needed.
My point is, you don't know, and you have to, because you have what I would consider to be false security. Your godparents, they're older than you. Your sisters, are your sisters married? Do they have kids?
My little brother just got married. No. I am actually the oldest. So, I'm sorry?
Are you earning more than $100,000 annually?
No.
70,000?
No.
50,000?
Yes.
60,000?
No.
Arizona, Tucson, Scottsdale?
Yeah, that area.
You're broke. Paycheck to paycheck. $60,000 Tucson, Scottsdale, where the cost of living is about 130% of the national average. $60,000 is every bit of $45,000 in Houston or Dallas. It's paycheck to paycheck. It's paycheck to paycheck. No savings. Now, unless you get some sort of inheritance or whatever, it's not living money, man. How much money do you think you'd need to survive between 65 and 85? That's almost $2 million cash. You can't save that. You have to invest your way to that.
Yeah.
And women feel secure because no one's trying to boop them in the head and take their sandwiches. So my point is this. Relationships, especially, I'm pushing harder because you said you're a Christian. And I don't understand how this lines up with us as Christians. You're supposed to be in a relationship. That's a woman's purpose on the planet. Is it not? In our faith tradition, what is your purpose?
Honestly, yes, there is to be in a relationship, but like, I also believe that like serving and loving God. I feel like you kind of have given me, like, you kind of just blanketed me because of the things that I've shared in regard to being single and stuff like that.
Christian woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And whose headship are you under?
I am I do go to church. I do serve. I help out.
Headship.
Are you talking about like relationship or like at my church?
If you were raised in Christian tradition, you're supposed to go from your father's house to your husband's house. In the interim, it's acceptable.
I still submit to my godparents. I still submit to my.
Hold on. In the interim, under your pastor's headship.
Yeah.
But you're out here on your own, making up your own Christian rules. This is modern Christian feminism because I have a heart for Jesus. That's why I'm going to break apart Sierra's prayer, because so many women believe I got a relationship with God by myself. But where's the man? Father, Son, Holy Ghost, the Trinity. There's headship, vertical relationship. Who's leading you? Who are you submitting to? Who's guiding you?
I have pastor, and then I have my godparents, and then I have my adopted
Your pastor is male or female?
He's male, but he's married and his wife speaks.
How often do you meet with your pastor?
Like to have a sit down conversation, or just kind of like a.
You said I'm
like
asking you. I'm asking you. You said I'm asking how you meet your pastor.
Well, like to meet and like talk to them about things, I hardly ever.
Mm-hmm. So you said you're under the leadership of your pastor, but a man, how are you going to be under the leadership and you don't talk to him? Because I'm going to ask you the next question. You're a 43-year-old single woman who you haven't even talked to your pastor about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not special. You're just another Christian feminist. How can I dissect this stuff? How can I know 3 steps down the line what questions to ask you? Because this is what's infected the church. In one breath, you say, I'm under the headship of my pastor. When did you meet him? I don't talk to him. What?
So I do. There are a few pastors in the church. There is one head pastor, and I talk to one of the pastors pretty much every time I serve, which is a few times a month.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I have accountability in my life, if that's what you mean.
No, I'm asking you, where's the relational accountability? Who's helping you sort out the relationships with a man? See, the fact that I'm even having to explain this to you as a Christian woman is very disconcerting. So women are just supposed to be just floating through the village, individual by themselves, just making olive oil and bread, living in their own hut, right? Just got a heart for Jesus, heart for God. We're supposed to be in Bethlehem, just doing our thing. Yeah, you're supposed to. Where the single women live in those days, huh?
They're usually cared. I mean, in those days, they're usually cared for by the church. Huh?
Where'd they live? The whorehouse. They lived in the whorehouse. Yes, because you either in your father's house, or your husband's house. Women didn't just live by themselves. You had single women, unattended women. They were in a whorehouse or on the street, and the women that were on the street, the widows, they could at least go to the church. Women aren't supposed to be unattended. You're supposed to have men in your life. That's what I'm saying. No matter how you come at this, I take it back to what you said was the guy in your life, your religious beliefs. I'm sorry, this is bullshit. You're living a faith lie. And I see it all the time. Not supposed to talk about it, but man, when I ask women in your position or men in your position, are you in a church that facilitates single marriage? No, then you need a new church.
That's a fact.
And I want to go back to the audience. Shoes on my feet, I bought them. Car I'm driving, I bought it. Rock I'm rocking, I bought it. It's only because they make money that they feel like they're independent. That's what this long conversation is to show. The reason so many pastors don't like me is because I point out the fact that they're not helping their single female parishioners couple. Do you tithe?
I do.
Goddamn right you do. 10%?
Yep.
Yeah, of course you do.
Why? What's wrong with that?
Nothing. Nothing at all. What percentage of the church is single men these days?
I think there's a lot.
Okay.
But it would be you were right on the fear part. And
thank you. $5,000. $5,000 of over 50, less than 60. That's $5,000 to $6,000 a year. Single women are a cash cow for the church. Cash cow. That's why male membership in churches decreased by about 40%. Why would you got single women lined up in church religiously pumping in $400 or $500 a month per head? Ask a woman if she's gonna spend $400 or $500 on a man, she tell you no, but she's gonna put that in the offering plate for Jesus. Ain't following the pastor, ain't really trying to find her husband. I'm just gonna wait for Mr. Right. And they're like, 5,000. I want you to think about sitting on a church aisle. Go to your, I used to sit around church, I'm like, this whole pew is full. Boom, 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 boom. 20, 30 women. 20, 30 women, $500 a head. Man, that's $15,000 per pew. 10 pews deep, that's $150,000 a month. The only people married at the church, the pastor, the old people, the biggest part.
There's lots of young couples.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, yeah.
The majority of the church married.
Hold on, before you pay for yet another app to manage your team, let me introduce you to Connect Team, the one platform that
I'd say, well, from what I've realized, yeah, there are a lot of married people at my church.
And what is the singles ministry like?
I don't know.
You can't make this shit up, people.
You couldn't make this stuff up.
You can't make this stuff up, people. You cannot make it up.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make it up. I mean, you've been a good sport, man, but you got to understand that you are in a relationship with yourself, and you say with God, but this ain't what God has told us to do.
Mm-hmm.
The other married people, where's your man?
Yeah.
You're not making enough to live on your own, and when your body breaks down, like we all do, this is not going to be good. We don't make enough money to be single. So I hope, whether you like the conversation or not, you can at least understand that there's a religious component. There's also a practical component. You don't make enough money to be like this. And that's why my show is effective, man, because I ask questions that people aren't willing to ask, not to just be a dick, but because I don't want to say it because I'm already probably in enough deep water. You guys want to hear the first part of this? I'll go to Zoom and I'll clip the first part and upload it as a standalone video. No, ma'am, you're okay. Everything's okay, but I want to Mary.
Okay, that was Kevin Samuels as he weighed in on this video. Now, I do have to say the last portion, he made a couple valid points. And I don't know for those of you who've been following along, but Drewski some months ago did like a skit, and he kind of was making fun of certain pastors in the church. And it really started some conversations, because there is an element of it where some people question whether or not the pastors and the leaderships in the church are actually helping the people that they're supposed to be advising. have a spiritual authority over. He brought a point where he implied that a lot of times the pastors want the women to remain single because that's how they can secure certain times. The single woman who's aspirational, who's seeking a husband, a lot of times the absence of a man's presence may make that woman more malleable and more willing to sow seeds to sustain that church. And it's a tough pill to swallow, but there may be some valid points to it. Not all pastors that are preaching the gospel are called to preach the gospel. A lot of them see this as a way to manipulate people and to do business and to make money. Not all pastors are disciplined. Not all pastors are, are putting God first in the way that they, advise people. A lot of people see this as a way of taking advantage. And I think Kevin was making the point that if you're attending a church and you're a single person and there's a plethora of single people in the church, and there isn't a strong singles ministry to help pair those people up for marriage, then it's an indicator that that church may not help serve some of the needs of the congregation if there's a plethora of people who are single and unmarried. That the church should do more to pair people up so that they too can be married and they too can, find love. And not to say that that's the church's job, but the church should have some sort of ministries that cater towards the needs of the people. And he did make the point that, it doesn't seem like she's engaging and connecting to the leadership within the church to get, counsel on how to connect and have a relationship. Now, I have spoken about this particular topic, giving my male perspective, and rest in peace to the late great Kevin Samuels, who this video is probably about 5 or 6 years old now, as this took place around COVID time. And I think the messaging in the video, the advice that he gave, is timeless in that there's a lot that can be extracted from it for those who have the ears to hear. For this message, it may have offended a lot of women, some of which probably resented Kevin Samuels for being so brutally honest in the way that he would advise some women. Now, I did invite a panel to kind of have the discussion, and I wanted to get a female's perspective on this particular topic just to see how it was received. So with that said, I have invited a good friend who is going by the name of The Elite Realtor, digital realtor, I believe. Now, I'll go ahead and patch her in, and I'll go ahead and get a female perspective based on what she heard about the conversation and how it landed with her as a female. So with that said, let's jump into that discussion with The Elite Digital. Are you online?
Yes, I'm here.
You are, okay. Well, thank you very much for joining. I know this was a little bit of last notice, but you made it happen for me. I would like to get your thoughts, though. Having heard what Kevin Samuels had to say on the topic, what is your thoughts around his advice, or around maybe even a female perspective? Like, how do you think that messaging landed?
So I'll tell you, I didn't even really pay attention to the full video. So if you could just ask me like a specific question from the video, that'd be great, because I'm not a super fan of Kevin Samuels, so I wasn't really tuned in.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Well, just to summarize, Kevin was interviewing a woman who is 43. She said she was a born-again virgin for about 23 years. She was preserving herself, even though she had had sex. Now, during the conversation and further interaction with Kevin, she revealed that she did actually slip up and have sex with a guy about 6 years prior. So somewhere around 37, she slipped up and did have sex. But the question here that we're asking is it wise to save it for marriage? Kevin Samuels highlighted, or was asking her, what was it about relationship and commitment that kept her on the sidelines. He thought that she was a church feminist who believed that being in a relationship was probably a fearful thing, and she was too afraid to commit, and she would use her faith as an excuse to not engage in being in a relationship with a man. And his point was, you know, at 43, maybe you become a little less appealing to the number of men that you may have. A lot of men at that age want to have a family, want to have children, and it doesn't benefit you to sit on the sidelines. Now, with that type of advice and that summary, what do you feel about this particular topic? And did he make some valid points? Or what's your thoughts?
So my thoughts are, I think if this woman decides she wants to do that, then she can do that. And I feel like Kevin Samuels, yes, rest in peace. He always had a lot to say about women. And it's like, sir, you're not the father, you're not her man, you're not a pastor. Like, what was his title to give this woman this advice and for her to actually like take it into account? Did he even have a degree in anything that he was speaking about?
Well,
Are you able to share that? Or do you know?
I can give a little bit of context. It doesn't seem like you followed his show much.
Absolutely not.
So Kevin Samuels was, I think he called himself, a fashion person. But he gave relationship advice because in his profession, in his field, his clients were a lot of affluent men who would often talk to him about the type of woman that they were looking for. And so he had a vantage point that gave him access to men of affluence, which a lot of women desired to be in a relationship with. So he ran a show where women would call into the show to discuss or to get dating advice as to what they can do to appeal to a high value man. And one of the questions he would always ask them is, what would you bring to the table that would make you appealing to a high value man? Do you understand what the high value man values in what he would perceive to be his wife? And a lot of times what would be some sort of discourse between him and the women is that the women would kind of rattle off their list of desires, but they wouldn't necessarily speak about how that would appeal to a man. Or a lot of their views would be that that because of their education or things of that nature, that makes them, desirable to a man. But Kevin Samuels will eventually say, no, men value fit, feminine, friendly women. And if that's not your disposition, it's probably not likely that you're going to be able to attract those men, given the fact that those men are within the 1% of men in terms of learning capacity and career accomplishments and achievements. And they have access to both the young tranche of women as well as the older tranche of women. They all want the same type of man. So why then would a man choose a single mother or someone who has baggage or been traumatized in relationships over a younger woman who doesn't have those traumas or the baggage of children and those dynamics? What would be appealing about you that would help you compete against the younger women that may offer a little more, especially if you're not trying to be married or have children or things of that nature? And so that's sort of Kevin Samuels' whole shtick.
I got you. Yeah, well, seems like it could be a confidence issue with a lot of those women that call into the show and have to ask that gentleman advice about that topic. That gentleman, again, rest in peace. He had I don't think he had any place or any value, or I don't think he was the person to talk to these women about that. He didn't seem very high value to me. Honestly, a lot of the times I thought he was gay and was just covering it up with all of the way he treated these women and talked to them, because what he says, actually, it doesn't matter because he was not relevant. Did he have a degree in what he did? Was he versed educationally to share this with these women, this information? And should they listen to him? Why should they listen to him? Because he had access to high value men? That's crazy.
Well, to be fair, and in defense of Kevin Samuels, I think he ran a show and he did not obligate these women to call in and seek his advice.
Right.
Obviously,
confidence issues.
Obviously, the show that he ran was appealing enough to enough of an audience that people tuned in, and a lot of times the people who tuned in got a lot of value. Kevin Samuels' appeal was more so to men,
of course,
but a lot of women, because he, I think, in a way, was speaking for more so the average men. I think his position was that men who were average men were being somewhat neglected by women who took issue with those men because they felt they were entitled to a higher value man. And so he would challenge those women as to why they believe an average man is not good enough for them. A lot of times the women that would call in are PhD level women with high education.
It doesn't mean they have confidence and they're secure though.
But who, for whatever reason, can't keep a man, is not getting married. And they were frustrated by the fact that despite their efforts in relationship, they were not successful at actually getting married.
Yeah,
I think that was Kevin Samuels' appeal, in that he essentially spoke on behalf of the average man, but also spoke on behalf of the.
I think he touched on pain points on both sexes that were insecure and lack confidence. Honestly, and I think when you speak to a pain point, especially in on a platform like this, you can definitely attract a number of people, because there's a lot of people with low confidence and insecurity, and when you have that type of personality, you're going to attract certain things, right? And if you have confidence and you're still attracted to that, then there's something else wrong. So I would always say, look at within yourself, maybe get possibly get some therapy and just get some actual help and advice from someone that is educated in that field to help them in that way, versus a gentleman on YouTube that wasn't even educated in that field. And
well, as a person,
was he even married?
As a person who
wasn't married.
He was married.
Was he
married and got divorced?
Divorced.
And respectfully, I don't believe he was gay. I mean, I think that was probably
you wouldn't know, would you?
No, I don't know him personally.
We wouldn't
be able to speak to that. But that being said, I think a lot of the women that called in would not characterize themselves as insecure.
Of course they wouldn't.
A lot of the women that called in were very accomplished women.
You can be accomplished and be insecure.
Who
lack confidence.
Who, for whatever reason, were not successful in the areas of relationship, or they wasted a lot of years dating men that ultimately didn't desire to marry them, and felt that the dating pool did not yield the type of men that they deserved. So I would say that, and I know you said you didn't really watch the show, so I don't think it's fair to characterize the women on the show that you didn't watch as being insecure. Most of them, as a person who did watch, I've seen some shows. Came across
a little bit of clips, but not today.
No, I can understand, but I'm just saying I wouldn't characterize most of those women. I think it's probably insulting to those women.
But the gentleman that was giving them advice was characterizing them in real time. and telling them certain things about themselves why they were not getting men. So I would actually say the same thing that I'm doing was the same thing he was doing, but in a different way. So
the one thing I would say about that,
I can come up with my own conclusion as well, if that gentleman could.
The one thing I would say, I mean, you are entitled to your opinion, and I welcome your opinion, which is why I'm invited you on the show to share your view and your thoughts. But the one thing I would say about that is that I do believe that for some of the women that were on there, some of them didn't necessarily have that male figure in their life that was speaking to represent how a man thought and to model the type of men that a lot of women should choose. And what I found is that a lot of women would admittedly through themselves say that, you know, they didn't necessarily make the best choice when it came to choosing men either to bear children for, or men
to
waste a lot of their lives, to waste a lot of time of their life with.
Absolutely.
Because ultimately, those men never measured up to anything worthy of a husband.
Right.
And now they were trying to step outside of what they chose to procreate with to find something better. And I think Kevin Samuel's point of view was, why should you be entitled to get a man that is better than the man you gave birth to a child for? Like, why do you think that you can make poor decisions in choosing a man, and a better man of higher quality is going to come and rescue you from the decision?
Because people make mistakes, and you can work on yourself, and you can change your mindset, you can change what you want, you can get therapy, you can become a better person, and then you can possibly attract that man that you are looking for, that could be maybe not even all the way high top tier than the man that you had the baby with, but better than the ones that you chose before. These are all possibilities. It's all mindset, it's all what you attract, it's all what you believe about yourself. And I can relate to some of those women that chose the wrong gentleman, right? It happens. Men choose bad women. Like, humans are humans. They're going to do what they do. But if they don't change, they don't have boundaries, they don't make better decisions, they don't get help, they don't look within themselves, they don't actually decide, like, I'm not going to mess with those type of men anymore. There's a lot of work that has to go into choosing a better person or attracting a better person. It doesn't mean that it cannot happen. You got to work on yourself. So that's why I said where the confidence may lack, or the, working on yourself may lack, insecurity. I mean, a lot of humans in this world are insecure, and there's different levels of insecurity. So me calling them insecure or having lack of confidence is not really a dig on them. It's just a character flaw that can be helped and worked on if they decide to, or get the help to do that. That is not, unlikely for men and women. But for a man that is of that gentleman's caliber, with no degree in what he did, to talk to those women about what they should do, what they shouldn't do, get this high class man, whatever, dude. Like, who are you? You're not my dad. We're not stroking. You don't have a degree in what, you don't even have a PhD in what you're talking about. Like, why should I listen to you? Great, you have your opinion, but don't tell me I have to change this about my life or this and that, and tell me I have to listen when you have no relevance, actually. So that's my opinion. I would never listen to him. I despise that guy. Sorry, rest in peace again. But everything I had to say was I was not a fan. And I believed in this world. You come into this world by yourself. You're going to leave by yourself. No one in this world is paying any of those women's bills. None of them are related. Nobody, society and all these people, whatever they have to say, that's great. But none of that is going to help them in their actual life when they're by themselves in the trenches with their children and their mind and having to deal with those traumas or whatever they're dealing with. None of them, no one's coming to help them. So they need to not listen to someone of that caliber, because it's not helping, it's not reassuring, it's not positive. And he can't tell any woman what man's gonna deal with them because they're young, old, fat, skinny, whatever. Because I've seen big women with men that you can't even believe they would end up with. I've seen rich men with course, like whatever you guys call them, people that have slept with a lot of people, like it's a whole shit show. And I feel like people should do what they want to do because no one here is God and only God should judge, and that is all. The end.
Yeah, but I think I respect your point of view, but I think for a lot of women, they weren't necessarily fulfilled. I mean, I think for some of the ones who were more accomplished, who were educated, who had money, and who felt like they were entitled to a man, I think part of the problem is a lot of these women didn't feel fulfilled. And for a lot of women, obviously, having a relationship or getting to a phase in your life where you realize, man, I'm not married, I don't have children.
That's also a problem. I think that's an insecurity issue. I'm sorry, because the fact that you think that you need to have a man to be happy is a problem in itself, because no one can make you happy unless you're happy within yourself first. When a man comes along, he's going to add to your happiness, but he cannot make you happy within yourself. Just like rich people get money and they kill themselves, it's the same thing. You have to be happy within yourself before you get anything that's worth anything in this world for it to work. That is my point.
So do you think women, older modern women, are happier without relationships, or do you think
the ones that think they need a man to be happy, they're not happy. The ones that can be happy by themselves, but that also would like to possibly have a relationship, I think they're happy, but they would also be a little more cheery if they had a man to share it with. That'd be great. But I don't think they'll die on the hill of unhappiness if they don't get a man. So there's two different types of people. Again, one with confidence and security where they are happy within themselves. They found themselves, they know themselves. If they don't get anyone, they'll be happy and fine. Now, there's the other woman, successful, has money, but they're like dying inside because they don't have a man. But they're dying inside because they're already dying inside from sadness that they have not taken care of. Find therapy. Find someone that can help you. Help yourself. Read books. Figure it out. And then you become happy by yourself. And then go ahead and find you a man. And then you may attract someone that you're looking for, because the aura that you're giving off and will tell the universe that you're happy. And this is the type of woman that I want to be with.
You do make this sound so simple that you would think
it's not simple.
It's just as easy as 1, 2, 3. But
absolutely not. It's not.
The reason why these women was calling in is, despite these advice that they would get from women like you or from other elders, women who were in similar positions, they found themselves alone. And I don't know if that's something you can relate to, but you know, for a lot of women in their latter years, they're not looking forward to getting older and being alone. Meanwhile, there are other people who have someone. Now,
what do you call yourself on here? I'm sorry.
Mr. B.
Okay, Mr. B. So I think that's, again, these older women that feel that way. They have to do the work within themselves. Find a therapist. I did therapy for 2 years and I have no problem talking about that. I think that is one of the best things Black people should do and everyone should do. Do therapy, because as our people, we have generational trauma that's within us that we don't even know how it's affecting us. And it could be, who knows, that could add to your unhappiness and you have no idea. If you go to therapy, you talk to someone that has experience and education to help you with your issues. I think that would be the stepping stone, like the start of actually having some type of happiness and understanding of what you want, what you're not going to put up with, your boundaries, all of these things. Tackle the things that happened in your past. You know, like all of these things. And then after you do that work, I'm saying it will help. If you get the right person, it will help you. That's the start.
Well,
working on yourself.
What you just said is actually something that Kevin Samuels was often saying. I know you're not a big fan, but he did encourage a lot of women to get therapy because a lot of times there are traumas that is preventing women from being able to, get and keep a man. And, there is things that I think needed to be highlighted. But to me, and this is one of the reasons I do the show, is because I actually feel like he kind of got a bad rap. From what I heard in this particular interview that he had with this young lady, although he was very direct and, he didn't hold any punches, he kind of told her like it was. I felt like it was coming from a place of love. I felt like he was giving her tough love to say, you cannot sit on the sidelines too afraid to embark on relationships.
Okay, I agree with that.
And expect that somehow, some way, you're going to get relationships.
And that's also part of working on yourself. She has to work on herself.
I know,
she's afraid because she didn't work on herself. She doesn't know what she's actually afraid of. So if she doesn't attack the fear or work on that fear, then she's not going to get to where she needs to go. That's an inside problem. Again, she's unhappy with herself, which does include fear. All of those emotions are the same couple in the same thing, and they're going to have the same result.
This is where he raised up the point about the excuses she was using to justify not getting into relationships. Mm-hmm. She was using the excuse of she's saving herself for marriage because maybe she thought that she was more virtuous when she, sat on the sidelines, that somehow would be appealing to men. Another thing that he pointed out was that, she wasn't exactly seeking out the help that she would need, especially from the church. She was leveraging the church as, she was serving in the church, but he was saying that she didn't exactly go seek counsel from her pastors or from others about how to actually engage and to break out of the fear of relationship. And when he dug into it more, he found that church that she was going to didn't even really have a singles ministry that would help to facilitate her meeting new people so that she can get married. So he raised a couple of questions that I thought were valid, but also it really spoke to me in that there are plenty of beautiful women who have a lot to bring to the table, who can be great wives, but because of traumas or fears, they are handicapped by those things, which prevents them from actually engaging in relationship, either out of fear or because they don't necessarily think that things will play out in a positive way.
And you know what that is? That's an inside problem. That's a security problem. It's a confidence problem. They gotta take care of inside. And that's why I said a lot of the women that call in have an inside problem. But all of them may have a different type of inside problem, but unless they deal with what's going on within them and actually find out themselves, they're not going to be any better.
One of the things that Kevin Samuels would say is that statistically, specifically Black women, they tend to get married far less than other women. And I think it's like 1 in 4 get married. And would you say that inside problem is predominant in the Black community?
I mean, it would make sense because there's a lot of things against Black women in this country that would pertain to that percentage. Black women are the most disrespected, and you know the rest. They're on the bottom of the total poll in this country. Let's say the world, actually. Not this country, the world. They're at the bottom. They're the less chosen because that's what society has portrayed. We want the light skin, we want the good hair, we want the whites or the other races because they are more appealing, and they submit, and they know how to treat a man, and all of these things that Black men feel like are better than a Black woman. Now, we don't also take into account that Black women, because of how a lot, I won't say a huge percentage, but a lot are raised, they have to be more aggressive, or they have to be more man-like, because they have to take care of so much on their own.
They have to be.
That's what they're pushed into, because they don't have the help, or they don't, you know what I'm saying? They may not have the dad around to raise them to say, this, you know, you should get married, or this is how a man should treat you, or this is the type of help that you should get, right? A lot of women don't have that. Okay, and that's in the Black community. There are in other races where there are no men around, of course. But it is a part of culturally, white people or Indians or Hispanics are taught from birth to get married.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's also cultural as well. Then we have a lot of Black men in jail. We have a lot of Black men are gay. We have a lot of things that are against Black women. So the percentage of Black men available that actually want Black women is also smaller than the other ratios of men that are available because of those things. So of course, the percentage is going to be lower for Black women. If you're on the bottom of the totem pole, then you already have really low choices in the men, because they're gay or in jail or they like the other races. And then they already have the issue where they have to be the person that takes care of their family or taking care of the children by themselves. So in essence, they're not going to be as soft, you know, initially or whatever. Like all of these things play a part in how we are perceived. We're also the most educated in this country as well. So that is definitely an issue. Because if you're an insecure Black man, you cannot put up with a woman that's strong or has education, well, both. And then we're not white, or we're not Hispanic, or maybe we're older, or maybe we have kids. All these other stupid things. I don't know. But that's what happens. Black women know they have these things against them. And that's why we have to get the most degrees, because we have to have something that we can be proud of. And be number one at, where nobody can touch us in, right? These white women can't say they're the most educated race of women in this country. They cannot. Okay, so you just got to decide what's important to you. And if you really do want a husband, if you want a man as a Black woman, you got to decide, will you date out of your race? Because a lot of white men love Black women. Okay, and so do other races. They do love Black women. So you got to decide if you want to do that. Right? And you have to decide, do I have issues inside and I need to take care of them? Figure that out. Go get help. All right. So there's so many things that are against us. And that's how the system was built, to be against us. But yet we do the best in a lot of other things. We are creators of many inventions. We're the smartest. We have the most degrees. We helped y'all ninjas in slavery. Like, it's so many things that Black women have done that we do not get credit for. We're just known as, oh, they're whores, or they're too aggressive, or they don't want to get married, or when they get married, they don't want to submit, or blah, 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 blah. But listen, if these women want a husband and they really work on themselves, they'll get one. Okay, I'm done talking.
Okay. You said a whole mouthful there. I did pull up some statistics on marriage. Now, you did say a few things that I didn't hear a lot of accountability from. Do you think a Black woman's attitude contributes towards why she doesn't?
First of all, that's so disrespectful, because I've seen many white Hispanics and other races have attitudes. But guess what they call, you know what the Black men call that? Spicy for Hispanics. It's cute for white women. Indians, they're crazy as well. You know, we're all crazy, but I'm just saying, I've seen some Indians get off on some people with their attitude. Listen, watch the, what's that? Italian boss movie or whatever. Anyways, they all have attitudes. All women have attitudes, all races have attitudes, but again, this is a system, something built on Black women to say that, oh, they all have attitudes, just like they think all Black men are dangerous, just like they think Black women are hoes. Like, it's all built into this system. I've seen white women have worse attitudes than Black women in situations, but it's cute to men. Hispanics, I've seen them break windows, slash tires, and like curse these men out. But the men are just like, my mommy is so spicy, it's so cute. Oh. Like, what? But if a Black woman does the same thing, she shows her anger, she shows this strong attitude. Oh, we can't be dealt with. I don't know what to do because she just has such an attitude. Let a white woman act the same way or worse. Oh, y'all are ready to throw her down in that bed and smash her on sight because it's so cute. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Stop it. This is all ridiculous. I'm Jamaican, and just being a foreigner coming to this country and just seeing how American men treat Black women, it's crazy. Like, going to other countries like in Europe, or like, I've traveled, and the way these men worship Black women overseas is insane. So it's like, how come these other countries like love us like this, but our own Black men in America have so many bad things to say about us, like go online and talk about us and talk like it's crazy. I don't see any other race talking about their women the way Black men sit in a circle on a podcast and talk about Black women. Like, other races don't do that. No other race does that. It's crazy to me.
Do you feel Black women speak positively about Black men on their?
I think all races talk badly about the other sex. Every single race does it. Every single race does what we do. But they don't go on podcasts. They don't go on podcasts and talk badly about their own race of women. I've never seen an Asian group of men get on a podcast and talk about how their Asian women have attitudes and their hoes and their this or that or whatever. They don't do that. I don't see Italian men doing that. I don't see a Russian man doing that. I don't see Hispanics doing that. They would never get on a podcast and they'll, my mommies, all these mommies they hoes and they don't listen and they got attitudes and this and that, talking about these women like they're women. Like, it's just flabbergasting.
So my question is, do you feel like the women talk badly about the Black men at an equal rate that the Black men talk badly about the women? Or do you feel like Black men?
I don't have those statistics, but from what I don't have those actual factual statistics or numbers for you. I do not. But in my experience, I do see both sides talking about each other.
Okay.
Absolutely. But I just don't think as a mature man that you should sit around on a platform and degrade your race of women that actually birthed you, and then you have daughters, and then you have sisters of this race, but yet you're okay to talk about this race of women so much. Like that's for other races to talk about you Black men and say, dang, why do they even do that? Because I've heard other races talk about Black men. Actually, like, hey, they talk about they women like that. Like, it's crazy.
That's actually a very interesting point. Now, I will concede to the fact that in our music, a lot of times we do not represent our women the best way in music that gets pumped out into the world. So I'm not an advocate of that. But I do acknowledge that does exist, and it does contribute towards how, maybe the rest of the world perceives women and how, the rest of the world perceives our men.
Absolutely.
With that said, though, I do think it is the responsibility of the Black man to speak about the condition of his people. Because as a Black man,
mostly women, though, mostly the Black women.
But time out. The reason why I would say that is because if our mothers are Black and our daughters are Black, then that means we were tutored by our Black mothers, and we're expected to be an influencer for our Black daughters, representing a male perspective. And if it's not us to have those conversations, especially with our daughters, to instill, here's what and how you should carry yourself as a lady, and here's why I don't necessarily want you to model the behaviors of these type of women in the way that you're brought up, because I'm not raising you to go twerk in the middle of restaurants.
Yeah, but you guys like twerkers. You guys like it's a weird double standard, right?
Time out. Let me finish my statement. Okay. As a father or as a brother, I do believe that more of us need to stand up and say, hey, you represent a family and you should hold yourself in high regard. And there are certain behaviors that is unbecoming of a lady. And as a man who either is connected to you through relations where I'm your brother or I'm your father or I am, a sibling or a son, we do have to have those conversations internally, because this is an in the house. This is an in the house conversation. Now, what we have is that not enough of us are having those conversations, and instead those conversations are happening online. And too often,
in a very uneducated way.
Too often, there isn't any dialogue that's actually taking place amongst each other, because the way I'm going to talk to my Black counterpart is going to be different than how somebody in another race is going to talk to my Black counterpart, because they have no real experience on what it is to be Black. So if I am going to have a conversation with my daughters, I am going to model for her what I believe is the right way to carry herself as a lady. Correct. And from a man's point of view, I am going to explain to my daughters how to avoid being the type of woman that men speak negatively about. So for me, and the purpose of my show is to bring enlightenment around those topics. It's not to tear anyone down. Everything I do on my show, and I believe that Kevin Samuels meant to do on his, was to be constructive in giving real feedback. Now, with our women per se, we tend to have very strong-headed women who feel that they can't be corrected at times. And because that's the case, sometimes you do have to take a stronger tone to talk to your women, to tell them, hey,
same for other races as well.
Respectfully, well, I can't speak to what other races do because I'm not a part of their race.
Yeah.
But given the fact that I'm a part of this race, I will say that respectfully, there are ways that our sisters carry themselves that I think is unbecoming of who they are.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. No, stop. Because there are people that carry themselves there's people that carry themselves in a certain way. There is a group of people that do that, yes, right? And then there's other races that carry themselves the same way as well, right? It's not only Black women that carry themselves in that manner. Other women do the same exact thing, but there's also very.
So you're telling me you see a lot of Asian women twerking in restaurants and doing things of that nature?
You've never been to Thailand, or have you been to Asia?
Have
you been to Asia? Oh, okay. Well,
I'm talking about in America. In America,
it doesn't matter. I'm talking about races in general. Races in general. We get put in this box, and we get such a hard time from men, right? That they're not perfect. They don't have the place to even talk to women or talk about women that the way they do. And they discredit the fact that other races behave the same way, but they want their Black women apparently to be so perfect. But then when the other race does it, or the other race is doing the same exact thing, it's so cute and so sexy and so great. but yet Black women get put down and talked about and degraded because we are at the bottom of the totem pole, and that's okay, whatever.
So let me ask a question. As a Black woman, and you're an educated Black woman, and I commend you for that. You've accomplished quite a bit in your life, and I also commend you for that. And for all the women who have, I commend them for that. It's not an easy thing. It's not an easy journey. So I definitely tip my hat to the women who, have overcome some things in order to accomplish and achieve certain things in their life. With that being said, to me,
can you pull up the stats about highly educated women? The percentage of how many highly educated women there are in America? Why don't we do that instead of this marriage?
With that being said, because I don't think the show is really about the statistics.
It's something positive to show, though. It's positive.
No. What I'm saying is, with that being said, I'm asking you as a woman, are you, and you're from Jamaica, are you, would you say that you feel as if our sisters carry themselves in the best of ways, or
sisters? So are you speaking 100%? What's your percentage you're speaking of?
I'm talking the majority.
No, the majority is not. The majority of if you couple the majority of Black women in America, if we're doing statistics and numbers, let's think about how many women voted. So it was about 73% of women that voted for this past election, right? That's not all of them. And then how many millions would that be? Okay, so if you think about that, a lot of the voters were educated, right? I'm not saying all educated people are classy or has class or carries themselves a certain way. But if you're speaking of the majority of the Black women in this country, I would say your percentage is very low if we actually do the math. So maybe you're talking about 1% of all of the Black women in this country. 1%. Okay, 1% doesn't carry themselves well. Okay, let's talk about white women. There's a lot of uneducated white women, like, trailer trash, no shade, but that's a fact. Those type of women, they don't carry themselves well. Then we have some Asians that, are in a lower class. That I've seen some Asians and they don't carry themselves very well. So there's this small percentage of all races of women that do not carry themselves well, yet we are coupled in this 1%. All the Black women are coupled because of this 1% is behaving badly, which is crazy, because Black women are the most educated set of a group of people in this country, but yet we want to talk about the group, the 1% that doesn't act correct. That's insane to me.
Well, I think that is a very valid point that you just raised. But let me point this. I think the reason why that is, and I would actually agree with you, there are a lot of women that are doing the right thing, Black women that are doing the right thing, that
high
are
percentage,
educated, that are getting married.
Very high.
But what I would say is that the women that gets portrayed in the public sphere to be the role models on purpose, to be the role models for the next generation of women, are not the best and most educated ones, right? You have like a Megan Thee Stallion. You have these.
Megan Thee Stallion is funny you call her name, because I want to know. People are speaking about this woman, and she's actually one of the top women in her bag right now in the celebrity world as a Black woman. This woman has a degree. She lost both of her parents. She did not come from a great background. She doesn't have any kids. Oh yeah, no baby daddies. Oh, that's what you call them, right? She doesn't have any baby daddies, right? And then she has multiple businesses. Oh my God, she's like a CEO. And then she's very rich. She's very rich. I would say richer than both of us times 10, right? So I would never couple Megan Thee Stallion in any kind of low bag that any man, Black man, any man is talking about, because they can kick rocks, because she is better and above all the men that talk about her in a terrible way. She has her degree. A lot of these men that are talking about what they're talking about never even seen school. So they can really kick rocks.
So I have a question.
And she doesn't care.
No, I understand. But here's the question that I have. Yes, she's accomplished a lot, taking nothing away from Megan Thee Stallion.
Better than most of these men out here that's talking about.
In terms of what she's accomplished.
Yeah.
I think the reputation that's been portrayed about
reputation created by people that don't have degrees
is that
what?
Having degrees is not the end all be all.
It's not, but you have an education. You have an education. You have a little bit more sense to talk about certain things when you have a degree.
Given the fact, I'm just talking about how she's portrayed in the public life.
It doesn't matter. It's on purpose.
She's portrayed in a way that gives people the impression that she lives more of a promiscuous life.
Yeah, and
to put it politely.
Why is it anyone's business?
Because she makes.
Well, how many penises goes to in her vagina? Why don't we talk about her degree though? We don't talk about her millions. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. I'm so sorry.
She makes it people's business. She puts her personal.
She's a celebrity. What is a celebrity to do? Should she be like Jay-Z and Beyonce and not come out when they're ready to come out? Should we do that? You know, Jay-Z sold crack, right? Can we talk about that? We don't talk about Jay enough. Let's talk about Jay. Jay sold crack. I think selling crack is worse than being a hoe. I would rather be a hoe than sold crack. Is that not a problem? Wow, let's talk about this. Wow. We don't talk about Jay-Z sold crack, but he's the best because he's a billionaire and he's a man and he's American and he's married to Beyonce. Woo. So nothing's wrong with Jay-Z, huh? He is the king of New York, right? He's the best. How many women has Jay-Z slept with? Do we know? Oh, it's okay because he's a man. Come on, man. Y'all be killing me, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here. Y'all cannot stop it. Please cut it out. Please cut it out.
I'm not gonna fault you for that point that you raise in terms of how certain role models are portrayed in the public eye and how
I'd rather be a hoe than sell crack.
How people utilize these people as influences for the youth and things of that nature. But I guess for me, what I'm saying is that once the public starts to portray a person as a figure that others should try to be like, it then leaves the next generation with maybe the wrong impression about the things to aspire to. No,
you mean like Tupac? You mean like Eazy-E? You mean like Ice-T? You mean like who else? It doesn't even have to be a woman. We can name all men. Let's go back to Jay-Z again. What's the guy's name that's in jail right now?
You going in?
What's the guy that raped these women? He's in jail. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. He was a great rapper though, but people still like him. Oh, R. Kelly. Oh my God, R. Kelly. People still play his music and they still think he is the most amazing man on the planet because his music was so great, don't we? Wow. But we don't talk about him molesting and doing all these things to these women. Why? Because he's a man?
I actually personally feel like
have a degree. That's crazy.
I personally feel like you've been a little disconnected because there's not enough platforms that has stopped talking. They did a whole series on R. Kelly.
People still love R. Kelly. I'm a big music fan.
Let's not act like people don't talk about R. Kelly in a way to degrade.
Very small. The amount of people talking about Megan, the amount of people talking about Megan being a whore is very much more amplified than people how they feel about R. Kelly being a molester and messing with kids.
The people who saying that Megan Kelly is a promiscuous woman are the ones who
they don't matter.
Firsthand experiences.
They don't matter. Like, this is what I'm telling you. Like, let me tell you something. I want to say something. And I want women and I want men and I want kids. If anyone hears this, I would love for people to not care so much about what everyone thinks about them, because God is the only one that's going to judge you. If you have faith, I don't care what religion you are. Not one human can tell me anything about my life and make me feel bad, because you And these people that I don't know, that will never pay my bills, that will never have sex with me, that will never take care of my son, that will never take care of my family, that would spit on me if they saw me walking on the street and I fell to my death and they didn't know me. They would not give two shits about anything I got going on in my life. But you want to worry about if how many penises went in my vagina? You're tripping. You think I'm going to care about what you feel?
Look,
please pick rocks and die.
Let me set the record straight. I brought up that point not because I'm concerned about how many penises goes into Megan Thee Stallion.
Well, you talk about it a lot.
No,
that's what it would equate to.
I brought up the point because you raised a valid point around some of the more constructive women who are not in the spotlight, who has accomplished a lot and doesn't get spoken about enough because the public chooses to focus in on the women who makes a living out of twerking. The public chooses to focus in on the women who twerk on stage at campaign rallies.
Okay.
And you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
to me,
But
so to me, what I was doing was actually agreeing with your point that there are a lot of noteworthy Black women who have done a lot and who is not being given the spotlight that they should be given. I was actually agreeing with your point. Now, with regards to the Megan Thee Stallion thing, I'm simply saying that she's lived somewhat of a messy lifestyle based on how she's conducted herself in the public sphere. And based on that, I think it's hard for a lot of, I'll say it, men to find sympathy.
Small-minded, immature men. Yes. Probably gay too.
When she seeks to get their sympathy by going online and trying to air out.
Why does she need her
people that she's been in relationships?
Why does she need their sympathy?
I don't know. Do you have to ask her that?
Wait a minute. Do you think she wants their sympathy?
Well, why would she go online and out?
Because do you know that she's a celebrity?
With Klay Thompson.
Did you know that?
No, I understand, but so is Beyonce, and we're not.
Okay, and Beyonce and Megan are two different people, but she's married to someone that sold crack. So what are you talking about?
That's a whole other show.
I'm right, saying, exactly.
No.
We cannot put people. We can't selectively talk about one person, somebody that shaked her ass, and she broke up with her man.
They both
cheated on her.
That's neither here
and
nor
then
there.
also Jay-Z cheated on his wife as well. So anyway,
I'm just saying one of the two of those celebrities tend to have more of a private life, and they
that's
don't always.
Problem. That's good for her.
Just hear what I'm saying before you interject.
It doesn't make sense.
Just hear what I'm saying before you interject. This is a matter of choice, right? Again, kudos to Megan Thee Stallion for what she's accomplished. Kudos to Beyonce for what she's accomplished. But I guess what I am trying to point out is that it is a matter of choice whether or not you choose to keep your private relationship business private. And because she opted not to do that on so many occasions, that is why I think a lot of people are commenting on what's happening in her relationship.
You're right. You're absolutely correct. And it doesn't happen to only her. Doesn't happen to only her. But the problem with this Black community is, let me tell you, they're so focused on the wrong thing. And that's why we end up in the situations we're in right now. We lost voting rights, right? That's turned upside down. There's a racist man in the government, but y'all don't talk about that all the time. Y'all want to talk about Megan twerking and being promiscuous, like she cares about y'all.
You're saying Black people don't talk about the race?
More money and more.
You saying Black people
more degrees than any of those people that's talking? She does not care about y'all.
So I have a question. You're saying Black people don't talk about the racist man in the White House enough?
No, I'm talking about the ones that are so fixed on Megan's twerking and her being promiscuous and doing all these things that y'all are so worried about. Y'all are not having these major discussions, heavy feelings about what's happening to our people. That's not even going on. I can see online that these men are more focused on Megan being a whore or a hoe than their voting rights being about to be chopped and going away, or us possibly going back into slavery and chattels and shit. It's uneducation to me. It's crazy. Like, it's lack of awareness. It's immaturity. Like, Megan doesn't want y'all. She's definitely not losing sleep over anybody that said anything about her that's negative. She's a celebrity. So yes, she's going to put her business in the streets because she chooses to.
She doesn't have to.
She chooses to, but look at her bag. Do you think she cares?
So the fact that she chose to is why people are commenting. The fact that she chose to is why
she's a millionaire with multiple businesses. What are you saying right now? Who cares? She has a fan base that actually supports her. And then she has the haters that she needs to make her bag bigger. She's doing the job. She's doing a great job. Let her do it. That's what she chooses to do. Now, if she didn't have a degree, she was broke, she didn't have any business, she had nothing to show for her success, then maybe we could say, dang, girl, you doing all this, you getting all these men, whatever, and you ain't got nothing. Oh, that's the problem. But no, we cannot say that. My girl is bagged up more than any of these men that are talking about her. She would never stroke any of these men that are talking about her. She's better than all of these men talking about her. She has a degree, and most of these men don't even have a diploma. Stop playing with me. Like, you can't say anything about nothing because it makes no sense. It's uneducated, doesn't make sense. So that's my view. I'm not saying nothing against you. I'm just talking about these people that have nothing else to do with their life. Instead of talking about a woman that doesn't even want you, like, and you're never going to get, and you're never going to be better than, because your bag is never going to be as big. You're not going to get a degree. You're not going to get a girl that looks like that. You're never going to get a girl that would want you that looks like that.
I'm glad that you brought that point up because you said something about bag. It seems like a lot of women, or I'd say some Black women, tend to estimate their worth by how much money.
That's their problem. I don't feel that way. So if you feel like other women feel that way,
but you just referenced it a couple of times in this conversation about when you made the comment about Megan Thee Stallion's bag being what it is. To me, it seems like she at least made it seem as if she was disappointed that he didn't want to pursue marriage with her.
Okay, so
based on her text. Now,
who cares?
Landing the page back to tonight's discussion, because we kind of strayed off a little bit.
It's not even like
this is where I'm pointing out some statistics with regards to marriage, because that's what the lady called in about. She was seeking marriage, which I think is what a lot of women ultimately want. They want to be married, they want to be in a relationship.
Small percentage.
A lot.
What is your percentage? Your statistics are not good, my Mr. B, because there's a lot of Black women in this country.
Hold on,
and they're single. And if you talk about actual percentages, then it would make more sense. You cannot say a lot.
I am just
there's millions of Black women in this country.
I'm just pointing out.
Doesn't make sense.
I'm just pointing out the percentage. You don't have to personalize it. So what it says here is the highest marriage rates is Asian men and women. They lead all races with 60.8%. And men,
there's a lot of them motherfuckers. It's like 1 billion of them. What are you talking about? By themselves.
Women married. Okay.
3 billion.
2024. Now, on that list, it says the lowest marriage rate falls within the Black community.
We already talked about this.
Which has the lowest rates of 37.8% for men and 33% for women. Okay. Now, within the white community, white men, it said, is dropped to 54% and women to 52.3%.
Why are we going back to this part?
And then because that was the topic of the show.
So you're doing like a concluding
on the show. Yeah, we're staying on topic. I know we deviated some, but we are actually doing the show. So then in Hispanic marriages, there has been some dips as well, but it still shows that marriages within the Black community is of the lowest point. And I believe that's what Kevin Samuels was trying to attack. He wanted more Black people to be married. And the obstacle to that is the fact that we could not find compromise amongst ourselves. So to you, I ask, do you feel it should be a priority for the Black community, for more of us in the Black community to be married? Or do you feel like that's something that we shouldn't have any regard for?
I think if people want to get married, they should get married. And I think if they have their reasons they want to get married, then they follow those reasons. Marriage is good for some people. Marriage is not good for some people. I think marriage is good as for like business. You and a family. Like you create a family. Two people are better than one. You know, it does help the community build and bring success to the community depending on who's getting together. So that there's good parts about it and there's terrible parts about it. So you just have to decide what you want to do, figure it out, work on yourself, then find somebody. And if that's not what you want to do, then that's okay. I think both sides are fine. It's not a good or bad thing. It's like whatever the human decides they want to do. So, but I believe because of how society, from the beginning, slavery up until now, this country was built on separating Black families. So, there's a system that was built for 400 plus years in order to separate us on purpose. Like, so it's something along with like the racism and the separation and all of that. All of these things need time to come about and be built. We're still building. We still have people that were in segregated schools that are alive now on TikTok. Like the first little girl that went to a segregated school, she's on TikTok. She's like 60 something. So let's think about how close that is. That's very close. So you have to understand that these still trauma people raising trauma kids, trying to get married and be trauma filled and marry Black people that all got trauma and it has not been addressed. So Black people in a whole have work to do. They need time. We haven't been 100 years past segregation yet. And they're still trying to keep Black people effed up and separated. Like it's not a system that's built for us. All of this is to keep us back and it's still happening. So if you think that voting rights are just the only thing, no, they don't want you to get married. They don't want you to be great. They don't want you to think that Black women are great. They don't want you to know that Black women are the most educated set of people in this world because they want you to talk about Megan Thee Stallion twerking and not that you can find you an educated Black woman that is the most educated person in this country. Like this is a whole system we're on the bottom of the totem pole. So what do we expect? It's not going to work out for us like we want it to right now. That's not in the cards. Because we can't even get segregation and all of these other things put together. So if those are not working, do you really think small basic things like a healthy relationship between a Black woman and a Black man is really going to work like it should? Like consistently? No, everybody's effed up. So they need to work on themselves. What?
I actually think it would help. Because the reason why I say that, and again, going back to the statistics, and this is not to trigger you in any way, but the reason
numbers are numbers, and it helps.
The reason why I think that is showing that certain households have two income generating people operating, and if you took the highest performing educated Black woman, if she's in a single person household, it's going to be hard to compete with two person households.
Well, not
so
if as a whole,
as a community, it's probably would suit us best to be in a situation where more of us are married so that we are more financially capable of competing with other communities. And I think it's to our benefit to be together. The question is, there's a huge disparity between other races that are and us, and
that's how the system was built.
Well,
that's on purpose. You live in America.
Yeah,
that is on purpose.
I think it's systematic, but at the same time, it's because there's certain conversations not being had, and this is again one of the reasons why I commend Kevin Samuels, because he was bringing to light some of these things and to say, hey, let's put our differences aside. Let's figure out how we can come together. And sometimes it's the fact that we have the wrong estimation of each other. Sometimes it's because we're dismissive of each other. We're disqualifying men because maybe they don't make a certain income, and women. And, we need to put away those childish things and come to the table and compromise with each other.
You're correct.
And I think at the heart of what he was trying to say, that was the main point that often got overlooked. But that being said, I do think that your input was very productive here, and I appreciate you sharing and taking the time.
I apologize. I think
and taking your time, to certainly come in and weigh in. It is about 12 o'clock here on the East Coast, and we are about to wrap up this particular episode. So to my guest, my lovely guest, I thank you once again for sharing your insights and representing and standing and cheerleading for Black women everywhere. Obviously, you know, I am an advocate for Black women as well. I do love y'all. I do think, though, sometimes y'all need a little talking to as well. And I think that was Kevin Samuel's sentiments. So rest in peace to the Godfather. And again, thank you for your input. And to my audience, I thank you guys for tuning in. And I ask that if you're not already a subscribed member, that you like and subscribe to the show and you stay connected so that we can, you know, continue to produce great videos like this for you. I also invite everyone to weigh in, leave your comments. Did I say things that you like, dislike? Did you hear things from the elite realtor who made some really, really great points? I would certainly say that, you know, you should weigh in and share the video. And again, we thank you guys for your time and for joining us. We're now about 2 hours into the video, and we're gonna call it a wrap here. But again, I thank you guys, and I wish you all well. Until we speak again, God bless.